So, had a few things come up this morning. RMO, I was looking at this originally when it popped up at 7. I tried to take it short back here as it came up through 760. And then I covered when it was down in the 30s, so I made like 25 cents a share on that. But now it's kind of moving sideways, so it looks like a little bit of consolidation. If it breaks up through 260 now, it might be a decent place to take a trade on it. It's actually looking okay. BTX came up this morning, but it's pulled back pretty significantly. It came up here on volume, but is now kind of moving sideways, so don't really know what to take that as at the moment. And then we also had SJ just pop up recently. A little bit higher price. Extremely low float. So this is going to be very volatile. Be a little bit higher price and very, very low volume at the moment. So we're probably going to wait for volume to come in on this for us to take a trade on it. Let's see, we'll hold off on that for the time being. Keep an eye on RMO and SJ, I guess. Those are the two best ones we've seen this morning. Significantly decreased volume on RMO, so I would say I don't have super high hopes for that coming back up, but still definitely a possibility. SJ pulling back a little bit right now. SJ definitely one of the ones consider taking a short position on, since it popped up on fairly light volume, so it's unclear whether or not it's going to hold this move. RMO looks like it has some support on a level 2. 850. Yeah, SJ still holding up here. Took a position short on this, and we'll see if we get the breakdown through 13. So we're gonna look for that. Profit target's gonna be 13. Holding 50 shares at 13.25 at the moment. Comes back up through 13.30, and then I'll probably sell these off. But doing this on my other account, so not really reflected in Thinkorswim at the moment. But we want to see this push down through $13. Alright, so I took off half as we pushed to 13. Now I'm going to hold this other half, and we're going to see what happens with it. Looks like a lot of buying just came into it, pushing up into 13, but it still couldn't hold that level. So I'm going to hold what I currently have. I only have 25 shares of it right now. And we'll see if we get a push down further down through 13. If we push back up, to 13.30 now, we'll probably take the position off. So on the 1 minute, 13.30 is going to be the place we're looking to bail out of this. But we're looking for the push down through 12.90 at the moment. Since it looks like it's having a little trouble holding up, it just dropped through VWAP. So we want to see the continued push down right now. Spreads are a little high, so gotta be a bit careful there. Clear out a little room here so I can hit my hotkeys. As far as RMO is concerned, still just kind of moving sideways. GME not doing too much at the moment. BTX sitting at 810. So definitely below those highs at the moment. Like I said, for this SJ position, we push up to 1230 or 1330 rather. We'll take it off. Cost basis right now is 1325. Yeah, it's not really doing too much. You know, still very light volume. This 5-minute candle is on extremely light volume at the moment. The first 2 minutes. See how the next few minutes of this goes. We want to see the continuation down. You know, and then if we get a push down through 1290, then we're looking good on the position, and we can hold it with the expectation of it coming back down to, you know, where it started this morning. So just ticked up really quick there to 1330. But the last tick sitting at 1320 still, so hold this for the time being. You know, I said this before on stream, but it's like I was talking about it yesterday, but it looks like a lot of the opportunity has been on the short side with a lot of these low floats recently, so probably going to try to take more short positions over the next couple weeks and try to get a little better at like recognizing when I should get into short positions and get a little bit better trading them, since I obviously don't normally trade them at all. And SJ still holding below VWAP. Good to see. So we want to see it push back down through 13. I think SJ is a, you know, very big, good opportunity downwards, since it moved up quite a bit and it's looking pretty weak at the moment. So we got 45 seconds left on this 5-minute candle, and then we'll see how the next 5-minute candle starts. It's pushing up a little bit right now, which I don't love. But we'll give it this next 5-minute candle, see if we get some selling coming into the next 5-minute candle. Bid seems to have dropped off quite a bit, which is good to see. Yes, now the bid and ask is moving down without really much selling happening. The next 5-minute candle just started. See if we get the push down here, or if we move up. Bid's still sitting pretty low. The spread's quite large right now. I feel like my chart is updating quite slowly on Thinkorswim. I don't know what's going on with that. maybe just hadn't had a big enough order to update the next candle yet. Alright, pushing down a little bit. That's what we like to see. We want to see selling. Alright, so now selling, dropped through 13. Got our first ticks through 13 on this candle. But it looks like we bottomed out pretty much exactly where the last two candles bottomed out. So we want to see a move through 1290 if we're looking for a continuation on this short move. So a nice tick at 1296 there and 1292. Would have liked to have seen a little bit more of that. Now it's getting bought up a tiny bit. Just gotta give it a little bit of a minute here. Still holding below VWAP, which is a good sign, and very light volume. So hopefully if we get the breakdown through 1290, then we'll get a big jump in volume. Kind of have to be a little bit scared the other way though. If we push up through 1330, then we might get a lot of people buying with the expectation of the move back up. So gotta be careful on it both sides here. But I would say generally it looks like it's trending downward at the moment. It just triple bottomed, which some people may looking for, a bounce up after a triple bottom like that. So it is bouncing up a bit here. Last few times it came up into 1330 though, it had some difficulty pushing higher. So give it a second here, and it looks like it's pushing higher at the moment. Yeah, it's really fighting in this, between 13 and 1330 level. So pushed up to 1330, immediately got sold into. So I mean, it looks like shorts are definitely looking at that area to put on their positions. So it's good, at least on that side. It looks like we're on the right side of it. Every time it pushes up into VWAP, it's getting sold off. So we would like that trend to continue. As far as other stuff coming up, not really too much else moving at the moment. The reason I kind of want to start trading on the short side is because every time we see something pop up, usually it's very short term and then it immediately sells off. So I think there's a lot more opportunity in the morning on the short side than on the long side, at least in this market at the moment. So selling back down below 13 again. Looks like we're putting in another bottom at the same level in the 1290s. A little bit of ascending, ascending lows, which you don't really want to see. We would like to have seen this break straight through down through 1290, but it doesn't always happen clean like that. 30 seconds till the next 5-minute candle starts. Let's see what we get there. So now we're putting a couple consolidation candles on the 5-minute right below VWAP, which is good to see. Now we'd like to see this next 5-minute candle break down. Trading in a pretty tight range between VWAP and 1290 right now. It's going to have to break out of it one way or the other probably pretty soon. So next 5-minute candle started. The first couple ticks on it are red, which is really good. So we just got that break through 1290. So I'd like to see more selling off, like quickly. But it's getting bought up a little bit in the 1280s. If we broke down through 1280 and we immediately hit 1270s, it's really good. realistically, profit target that we want to see on this is pushing down even close to $12. Um, I don't know, obviously, if we're going to see that, but that's what we should be aiming for, at least on the 5-minute. Might be one of those things. If we are looking at a profit target like that, we probably have to hold the position for quite a long time. So now it looks like we're getting a little bit of a bounce. I took off half the position, held at 1290 something, 1290 low, and now we're just gonna hold this position and for as long as we can. We're up $10 on the trade already, so decent there. And then I'm only holding 13 shares at this point, 12 shares. Those 12 shares are $4 in the money, and we're looking for a profit target closer to $12. That might take quite a while to actually get down that low. So while we're looking or waiting for that, I'll keep an eye on it just so it doesn't just shoot back up through 1330. What we got? So WEI, pushed up earlier this morning, but has pretty much sold off completely. BTX, kind of a weird move this morning, but now consolidating. Just below 850, between 8 and 850. It needs to go up to 950 to reach its pre-market highs, so I don't know if that's really going to be doable for it. GME sitting at 180. We had this big sell-off yesterday after the the public offering news. Surprisingly, I thought with that news coming out that the thing would just tank. I'm really surprised that it made the move back up, but then again, it's like, that's GameStop. It pretty much goes up no matter what. It's like, do a public offering, still comes back up to higher than it was in the morning. It's just irrationally strong. Now sitting, just below where where it opened at 4 o'clock in the morning yesterday, a little bit below it, $5 below it. So, looking okay in that respect. Honestly, on the daily, I still think it does not look good. Since this day 3 weeks ago, it's been in a steady downtrend. Even though it gapped down yesterday and then, filled in that gap pretty well, but it's still significantly lower than, a lot of these days. So it's like, put in a new low here, then we put in another new low, it bounced, but then, we're pushing lower again, so I don't know, I don't love the way it looks on the daily chart. On SJ over here, we've made another, 20 cents a share on our short position. Just looking good at the moment. Up like $15. Like I said, with this last piece of the position that we have, we're probably gonna, let this ride. Try to get it down closer to $12 before we cover on it. Maybe if it starts pushing up through $13 again, then we'll consider covering it. But it looks like it's just on a pretty steady sell-off at the moment, so fairly light volume. It is a extremely low float stock, so if volume starts coming into it, it could make a very violent move upwards, so we kind of have to be a little bit careful of that. And it's catching a bit of support down in the 1260 area. really, really nice short trade on this, and I feel like, you know, we could take a trade like this every single day. Um, there are these stocks that push up and then sell off literally every day that we've seen this month, and it's just like, um, yeah, we need to kind of take advantage of the opportunities that are in front of us in this market, and a lot of those opportunities have not been on the long side. So, gonna try to take some more short trades. Still got a ways to 8 o'clock, so not really. I mean, we'll continue watching the scanners, but I don't foresee anything popping up in the next 7 or 8 minutes. And it seems like everything else we're looking at has kind of just been chilling. RMO pushed up. Definitely having a hard time breaking over 860 here, but it's holding its level. It's holding its levels pretty well. Consolidating above VWAP. A little bit more volume coming into it in this last candle, but still having a little trouble pushing up. But if volume starts coming back into this, I could see it making a push up through 860. Let's check it out on the daily. Ooh, actually, Jesus. So a few months ago, this thing was at nearly $40. What the hell happened to it? Did they IPO recently? Yeah, I guess they IPO'd, almost a year ago, I guess now. Just a year ago. But I assume they had like a nice pop on news back here, and then it just, it all fell apart. Oh, they had a merger. That's why their stock price jumped up so high. Yeah, so I mean, looks like they've been continuously selling off for the last few months. So I assume we'll see a lot of bag holders here. It's pushing up a tiny bit, but I don't know. I think it's going to be hard for this to make any like serious momentum upwards. It'll be hard. I tried to take a short trade on this earlier today. I made like 15 or 20 cents on it, shorting it from like 850 up here down to like 830. Nothing too spectacular on that trade. SJ, we're still looking all right. Started pushing up closer to 13 again, but tapped close to 13 and is pulling back a little bit. Did so on fairly light volume, so nothing to be too concerned about there. Still looking good on the few shares that we're holding. I just need to make sure that I don't forget those shares exist. SJ pops off and I don't sell them. That would be a very bad look. Yeah, surprisingly, I mean, SJ looks like it's in good position to move higher. I think we hit all-time highs this morning. Yeah, it's at all-time highs right now. So I mean, me shorting it probably wasn't the wisest decision if I had known that, but it just doesn't seem like it's trading very well at the moment. You'd think for something that hit all-time highs, it would be a little bit stronger. Also, like, not a lot of volume coming into it. A lot of red volume on these candles. Even on this push up, you would have liked to have seen like a pretty solid green candle on the first push, but this candle is like pretty much split 50-50 buying and selling. So it's just not great. And this 1 minute candle back here is abysmal. You know, highest volume candle of the day, and it's a red doji with a huge wick. So, you know, you see a candle like this, like, you have to assume that there's a lot of weakness in this stock. RMO looks like it's finally making the push up through 860. Like I said, I mean, I think this thing's gonna have a really hard time. Let's check out the old level 2 for this. Whoa, alright, so it's got some support. Just kidding, that support got demolished. There was a 15,000 share buyer sitting at 865. You know, looking to support the move, but a 16,000 share sell order came through and completely demolished that buyer at 865. I have to assume that these are shorts selling into, you know, selling into the pre-market highs, which, you know, might be a might be a good idea on the short side. Obviously, I'm pretty inexperienced shorting, so I'm just gonna wait here and see what happens with it. But, you know, it looked like it had a little bit of support, but that support just got crushed. So wouldn't be surprised if we see a bit of selling off here. And SJ coming back down to these 1270s. It's nice to see. Yeah, so we're up, you know, close to 60 cents. 60 cents on these last 12 shares that we're holding. So we're looking really good on that. RMO just came up above 870. Level 2 wise, there's not a ton of buyers and sellers sitting on either side of it, so looks like pretty weak on the buy side, trying to hold it up. On the sell side, you know, between 871 and 875, we got 7,000 shares. On the buy side, you know, we got like 1,000 shares between 865 and 860. Alright, so we got another buyer holding it up here. 875, 20,000 share buyer. We saw this last one, 865, get, you know, torn up. So we'll give it a second here and see what happens with it. As it's coming up to pre-market highs now, you know, maybe we see a bit of a pullback, and we'll get in for a long position on this if it comes back up to the pre-market highs. Like I said on RMO, I mean, I'm not like, I don't love the way that the daily looks on it, and I would think it's going to have a lot of trouble holding these pre-market highs, but I don't know. I have to assume a lot of people are shorting into the high here, and they're using that high as like a backstop, since there was quite a bit of quite a few sell orders coming into the 880. It's 9,000 share seller sitting at 880 at least. Its volume is just so light. You know, even on the highest volume 1 minute candle in the last few minutes, it was only just above 50,000 shares. So still extremely light volume pushing up right now on RMO. Something else. PHUN just popped up. I don't know that. PHUN. Popped up from, $1.70 up to $2.15. Pretty nice volume. We've definitely seen this one come up before. So, not completely out of the ordinary. Pretty common stock to pop up. So let's take a look at this on the daily. PHUN previously in the last few weeks has been as high as $3. So it's going to have a little bit of trouble pushing up. This day they went up to $3. Opened at 220, went up to 3, and then closed at 190. So did not hold its level at all. So a little bit concerning there. And we're seeing it sell off a little bit now, so probably won't take a look at that until we see it come back up a little bit more. RMO now just broke through the pre-market high of 880. Not looking, it's like, even though it's breaking through this pre-market high, it's honestly not looking particularly strong. Moving on extremely light volume. Which I don't love to see that. SJ has pushed up a little bit, sitting at low 1280s right now. We still got our 12 shares working on that. RMO just broke through $9. So finally some increased volume on this 1 minute candle, but still, volume is there's a lot left to be desired from this volume. I have to assume this is some shorts getting squeezed out of their position right now as it's moving up. Because making a much more solid move than anything we've seen from it this entire day so far. It just made a comparable move to the first move it made when it came up on news, which is, it's pretty crazy. And it did so on significantly higher volume than what it did when it came up on its initial news. So now we're going to have to wait for a bit of a setup on this. Looks like it's trying to push higher. And it's getting bought up as it's pushing down towards 9, as you can see from this last candle. Alright, so pushing back down now. Just broke through $9. We'll see how it holds in this 890 territory. Looks like I got bought up as soon as it sold through. Good to see. Spreads on this are obviously pretty tight at the moment. So it looks like it's having a little trouble holding up above 9. So now on the next push over 9, might try to take some shares here. So we'll see if it pushes above 9 here in this candle. A little bit of resistance at 896. I think it's getting bought up into. So try to take 20 shares. Wasn't able to get filled for the other 10. So if we push up over 9 now, I'll fill in these other 10 shares. Didn't really get a great fill there. Sitting at a cost basis of just around $9.01. If we drop down to 893 now, I'll sell off. Otherwise, I want to hold for this move back up to 920. Looks like it is having a little bit of a hard time holding above 9. So I'm gonna take off half here. Keep the stop pretty tight. So we're looking for this immediate bounce back up to see if we got the volume. We see if we got our volume coming back into it. But it didn't really resolve as well as I would have hoped. Very, very light volume on this pullback, which is good. We do want to see this push back up over 9, though. Yeah, it just looks like it's having a rough time here. Few shares sitting at 9, nothing too crazy though. We want to see this push up over 9 and get some volume coming back into it. So pushed up over 9, but on very light volume still. Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't look like it has the... I'm gonna get out, break even with those shares. I don't know, it just doesn't look like it has the strength right now. It pushed up, but immediately got sold coming into, 9:15. Pulled back half the candle. Still very light volume. I'd like to see it on that push. Nicer setup. So we're essentially break even on this. Probably wait for a 5-minute setup on it. Just because the 1-minute setup, it didn't resolve super well. But here we go, pushing up. The volume is just like, I don't know, so questionable on this. Except for that 1-minute candle, the volume has just been terrible on this chart. And I assume that this candle is just like, just shorts. Some people who had short positions, below 880, just getting squeezed out as soon as it came above 880. And I just don't know if, there are enough people taking short positions coming into these levels for this to happen again, I guess. And also, like I said, I think on the daily chart, it doesn't really look very good. Yeah, there's a lot of people probably holding from the past few months when it's just been like steadily coming down. So, I don't know. Daily chart combined with the volume is just, I don't know, I just don't love the way that it's looking. SJ, on the other hand, still working pretty nicely for us. Sitting at 1270. I just pushed down into the 1260s. like to see a break down further on SJ. You know, if we push down to 1250, then maybe I'll take off another half the position, and then we can just let the rest of it ride to see if we can get it down to $12. You know, a little bit of a sell-off on RMO. That's kind of what I was talking about, where it was pushing up, but like the volume just wasn't there. It just really did not look very good at all. And now it's sold off of that 915 level. It's sold off 20 cents, you know, nearly immediately. So I just do not love the way that that's looking. You know, if SJ taps off of 1260 again and then bounces back up, maybe we'll take off half the position as well. Just because now it's tapped off 1260, I've gotten very close to 1260 3 different times. So wait and see what happens with it. RMO just being very choppy. Volume is just not there. A lot of selling. And like I said, really only the one candle that looks really nice is this one candle that broke above the pre-market highs and I think squeezed out some of the shorts that were holding positions, but it does not look like it's trading very well at the moment. You know, in the 5-minute setup now, the break over the pre-market high is the place that we would want to buy, but I don't think I'd be willing to buy into those levels since I'd be worried that we immediately get sold off into as we're coming up. SJ pushing up a tiny bit, coming back into the 1270s, which don't love. I would have liked to have seen this sold off down into 1250 a little bit quicker. Just ticked to 1265, so that's good. So that is, I guess, like a little bit of a detriment to taking the short position on some of these, where it's like you need to hold the position for a significantly longer period of time, since a lot of the stocks that we look at sell off just, you know, very slowly. Whoa. Okay. So SJ just dropped from 1260 to 1220 there. It's a 40-cent drop. So, you know, we're coming into that profit target now. That's looking really good. I took off half the position down at 12. I got filled at 1226. I think I'm going to try to take off the other half if people actually sell down into it, since the spread's like 25-cent spread at the moment. It looks like it's pushing back up a little bit. So just get out of the position if I can for the time being. We're up like, you know, $25 on that, which nice. I'll take it. Yeah, so first good short trade I feel like that we've had. It worked out pretty well. So I'll keep that order pending. I have it at, you know, 1228. So if it sells back down a few cents, then we'll get filled. As far as RMO goes, still being pretty choppy. It has pushed down below $9 now, you know, 5 or 6 times on the 1 minute. So not looking spectacular there. I just got out of the SJ position, so yeah, we're up like $25 on it. Pretty nice, I'd say. We initially shorted it. I think our initial position was 13.25, as it was pushing down. Yeah, 1325 as it was coming down here through VWAP. I think we caught it. And then I took off like half the position as it came down through 13 the first time, and then another half at 1226, and then I just took off the rest of it at 1240. So pretty nice trade. We don't really have anything popping up. Now that we're not looking at SJ, we can check out PHUN again. PHUN had popped up earlier, but it's a lower price stock. We've seen it come up a few times. Recently, the last time it popped up like really large, back here on extremely high volume, it didn't hold its levels at all. It popped up and then pulled back the entirety of the move. So, just a few negative indicators. The one thing good that it's got going for it is it has decent volume at the moment. So at least there's that. And RMO is struggling to hold up to $9 here. I wouldn't be surprised if we see people now shorting it. Like as it pushes up between $9 and $9.10. And then once we break through this floor at 893, we might see a little bit of a move back down to VWAP. But it really is just not trading super well. Kind of doing the same consolidation that it did earlier today, where it had a nice pop on volume and then consolidated pretty close to it and above VWAP on essentially no volume for an hour, and then started moving up again. And PHUN just grinding up at the moment. But again, kind of a lower price stock. You just take a lot of shares on this to be worth it. The 5-minute breakout buy back here was at $2.04. It's now done a 20 cent breakout from there. But I mean, like, the absolute downside of it was also about 20 cents. So I just usually with these lower price stocks, I don't love taking the trades on them unless they're looking like really solid. But I mean, increased volume coming into PHUN. Maybe if it makes another 5-minute setup, I'll consider taking a trade on it. RMO with this textbook descending wedge on the 1 minute. Look at this bad boy. A nice floor here. So we'll see which way it moves out of this this consolidation here. Oh, we got a little dip. We just barely broke through 893, and it immediately got bought up as it pushed through. But I would say the breakdown is not a really good sign on RMO. PHUN still pushing higher, man. I think just putting in green candle after green candle. So, anyone took a trade on this? Job well done. Now RMO has broken out of this consolidation range in both directions. Lines were kind of useless in this scenario, I'll say. So we'll see which way it continues the move. It looks like it's pushing up right now. And like I said, I mean, I don't know if I'm ever going to take a trade on RMO. Every time it's come up into these levels, it's sold off. It's traded really choppy. I just don't love it. I don't. PHUN now selling off a tiny bit now. An 8-cent sell-off. Unfortunately, highest volume candle of the day now is a red candle. So, not really what you want to see. If we come down maybe towards VWAP or 220, might be worth trying to take a dip trade on it to see if it comes back up to the highs, but yeah, the high volume red candle is it's not great. But it looks like we're putting in the high volume green candle right after it. Man, what crazy candle. So, highest volume candle of the day, this red candle, and then the immediate next candle, we put in nearly as high volume green back to where it was. So, pretty crazy. Don't really know what that indicates. Just interesting. Oh, man. I'm beat. We got AEHL popping up, another one that we've seen quite a bit of. Kind of pushing up on lower volume at the moment. Maybe one of these ones that can't take it short. I don't have any shares to borrow on this one. But just judging on like the volume, I mean, it looks to me like one that might sell off. Again, don't have any shares I could borrow, so can't short this one. Very light volumes. Last 1 minute candles sitting at 36,000, which is really not very much at all. And float, it is very low float though. 2 million shares. So, if it does decide to turn around, it could make a pretty big move on pretty light volume. Looking at SJ, maybe we should have, continued holding that short position. It seems to be trending back down again. So it shot down here. I covered, half of the remaining stuff that I was holding down at 1226. And then it pushed back up, so I figured I just covered here at 1240 as it was coming back up. But it seems like it definitely still has some room to go down. I was aiming at a price target of 12 just because that was this level of resistance back here. So we got pretty close to it. Still, I think a pretty good trade. Just probably didn't squeeze all of the potential we could have out of it. God, dude. Can't stop yawning. Really just now in a longer period of consolidation, false breakout on the 5 minute, lighter volume. Just doesn't really look appealing to me. I thought when it broke down back here on the 1 minute, when it broke down below 893, tapped 891, I thought that was gonna be the kill candle. I thought that was it. I thought it was just gonna continue pushing down after that, but it seems to be making a move back up. I don't really know why I even keep his volume profile up here. It is vaguely interesting. You know, like back here, you can see there's like lighter volume on this push from 870 up through 890. So that was why I was kind of expecting as it pushed through 893, we'd hit this gap of very low volume and just, you know, blow right through it downward, but didn't really end up happening like that, unfortunately. It's just crazy to see on SJ. I mean, we were sitting at, you know, between 1260 and 1280 for quite a while. Then all of a sudden we were 1275, and you know, like one person put in a sell order for, you know, like over 10,000 shares, dropped from 1275 to 1220. It's insane. It's crazy to see how much, you know, how much such a little amount of money can, you know, move a stock. I mean, like realistically, like 10,000 shares of, you know, $12 stock, well, it's like $120,000. That's not like a super significant amount, and it moved the stock, you know, over 40 cents. So, isn't that crazy? That person probably didn't get quite the fill that they were looking for there. I'm surprised they didn't try to just like, you know, sell it off slower over a period of time through this. Coming into 8:30. Maybe we'll get something to pop up here. Overall positive on the day though. We're looking pretty good. You know, we pretty much broke even on RMO. We're down 40 cents, or yeah, 40 cents on it. And then we're up like $25 on SJ. So, I think, quite pleased with how today's going. At 30 until we hit 8:30. RMO pushing up here. Quite a bit of resistance, you know, coming into 9:15. I saw, you know, 15,000 shares sitting in sell orders, pushing up into 9:15. So it's going to have a little trouble pushing through that, I would think. And SJ now doing a little bit of a tick up right now too. So definitely seeing some increased volume coming into 8:30. So it looks like people are at least trying to buy some stuff. Maybe if something pops up on news at 8:30, we'll get a nice move from it. The last few things that have popped up have not been too spectacular. You know, we have PHUN back here. You know, now selling off on volume, so two highest volume candles of the day on the 5-minute are now red candles. So it's never really easy to see. We had a decent number of shares on RMO trying to prop the stock up, you know, just over 6,000, but they immediately got sold into. A few big sell orders came out, just ate them up. Oh, just hit 8:30. So, let's see if anything comes up on news. And if nothing really comes up on news at 8:30, I mean, I don't think we have a lot that we're going to be trying to actively trade at the moment. RMO is still in this, you know, consolidation range, and I don't really want to take it long, just because it's been having such trouble coming into these levels. So I don't think it's worth it to try to take a long trade like into strength on this. Yeah, just way too much selling off. PHUN right now selling off to VWAP as well, so it's not looking great. Might be a time to try to buy some shares on it since it is coming into VWAP, so people might be trying to buy it up, but the volume for it is just like telling a pretty rough story. Pretty high volume selling going on in the last 15 minutes on it. So not really what we want to see. Yeah, RMO definitely still having trouble reclaiming some of these prices from back here. We pushed up into 914 here, and then we pushed up to 915 here, but we still can't reach back up to this 918 that we had pre-market. So every time we get close to it, it's just people are continuously selling off, into those levels. Big red candle forming on PHUN too, so just not spectacular. SJ started making a move back up, so I said before there might have been some more room to move down here, but it just put in a pretty solid move up after this dip, so probably got out at a pretty good time here. It double bottomed, close to 1210, and now is bounced all the way back up to 1290. Pretty crazy bounce. I don't think I'd be willing to take this long. Even though it is coming up a little bit, still sitting below VWAP, has been selling off for a pretty substantial period of time. So I don't think I could justify a buy on that. I mean, RMO. I mean, my gut is telling me the way that it's trading right now is that the short bias is winning out right now, just because it's having so much trouble coming up into these highs. So I think as it pushes up through 910, that's probably a good time to put on a short position with your backstop being 915. We've seen quite a lot of resistance coming into those levels: 914, 915, 916. So putting on the short position above 910, you have a very, very tight stop and very good potential profit with your first profit target maybe coming in down at 880. So 30 cent profit target, 25-cent profit target with a 5-cent loss. That's spectacular. And on the 5-minute on RMO, now we've had two false breakouts. First false breakout back here that sold back off down below 9. Second false breakout broke out by 1 cent and then pulled it back. It is consolidating closer to 915, but it's just there's so much resistance coming into that 915 level that I don't know if it's going to be able to make it through. That's why I'm thinking that it's probably a better short play than it is a long play at the moment. and even for how much it's gone up, it's still, from where it started this morning, it's still not a really super significant move that it's made. Started at $8, is now up at $9, so 15% or so move, which for some of these low flows that we're looking at is a relatively small move. BTX, I know we haven't been looking at it lately, but BTX is still up 75% on the day. I don't think it's trading particularly well, but still has made a certainly more substantial move than RMO has. So although RMO, moved up quite a bit, it's like not a super crazy move that it's made. So if we get another move up through 910, I will consider taking some shares short on it with a very tight stop. I'm really not super used to taking on short positions, so I don't know how selling into weakness goes. Like buying breakouts in on long trades is generally considered good when there's momentum in the market. Um, Selling into weakness, I don't really know what to expect doing that. So I'd probably be more comfortable taking a trade that I have a very tight stop on. So even if it ends up not going the way that I want it to, I can hit out and I only take a 4 or 5 cent loss, rather than selling into weakness where I could sell now pushing down through $9 and all of a sudden it could turn around on me and I'm back up at 9.15. So significantly less danger if I wait for a better price on this. Even if I miss the trade, I mean, sometimes it just gotta happen. Just gotta let these trades go on without you occasionally, if you can't get it at a good price. Yeah, I see a lot of people talk about that online, where it's like, you can know the direction something is going in, and have you know, call most everything right, but if you don't fight for a good price on the thing, you could just get shaken out if it comes back on you. Or it's like right now, if I sell coming in at $9, and I mean it might end up making a good short move on the 5 minute, it could push back up to 9.15 and still look perfectly in trend. So, and I don't know if I'd be willing to tolerate like a 15-cent move in that direction. I'm gonna look for a good price on this. If I can't get a good price on it, then we'll let it go. Switch back to PHUN over here. So drop below VWAP. Coming back up now. This might be a decent time to take a trade on it, but the volume of these last 3 red candles is kind of, it's not really giving me confidence that this thing's gonna push back up. Although this green candle has nice volume. It's just these last 3 candles, highest volume candles of the day, and they were all fairly large red candles. I do not love to see that. Alright, RMO looking like it's making the move down right now. All I see is red on the orders. Definitely a lot of selling coming in. Will it hold this floor? Yeah, I took also, what's going on, Shamshir? Good morning. Hope you made some money today if you did take any trades. But yeah, we only took 1 trade this morning. I took it in my other account on SJ. We took a trade short as it came down through VWAP here. took like 50 shares at, I believe, 12.25 as it was coming down. Um, Held through this, consolidation here. We took off half as it came down through 12.90. And then, we just held the rest of it. I took off another half at 12.26, and then I took off the rest of it at 12.40. So we ended up making like $25 on the trade. Um, so looking good there. First good short trade of my life, really. Yeah, yeah. So I kind of agree with you there. Like holding into the open is like the scariest. Hell yeah, dude. So yeah, I'm definitely trying to take more short trades if I can, just because in pre-market, I mean that seems like the thing that's been working. Like long trades and low floats have been pretty weak in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and it looks like all of the movement for low floats, medium floats has been during regular market hours. I've seen a lot of stuff moving between like 11 and 1 or like 10 and 1, which I'm not here for those. So kind of just trying to adjust the strategy a little to the hours that I actually trade. We were talking about taking a short position on RMO, but I want to wait for a better price. I don't want to sell into weakness here. We just tapped off of 893 again. Um, if we come back up through 910, closer to 915, then I'll probably take some shares with my stop at 915. So it's like we've come into a lot of resistance pushing up into those levels, so I can keep my stop very, very tight. You know, Ideally keep my stop at like 3 to 5 cents, and then we'll have a potential loss of 3 to 5 cents, and then a profit target. You know, we could potentially aim for 890, 893. But ideally, we'd probably want to aim for like 880, so like a 30-cent profit target and like a 3 or 4 or 5 cent loss. So really, really good profit loss ratio if we get in a short up near 915. So that is what I'm looking for at the moment. SJ, has some pretty serious volume coming into it at the moment. Made a pretty significant move while I haven't really been watching it too much. Um, so we got out of it down here, but since then, really solid volume coming into it. Really good move up. It broke $14 even, pretty crazy. Since it looked like it was essentially a dead stock. I thought after these couple candles right here that we were just gonna have it, selling off for the rest of the day. But, tapped up here, tapped 14, just came through it a little bit. A lot of selling off now, unfortunately, but did make a pretty significant move where I'm surprised it came up that much. I wasn't really expecting a move up from it after the kind of price action that we saw from it the rest of the morning. So, a little unexpected. I wouldn't be super surprised if RMO. I was gonna say RMO breaks down a little bit here, just because it's hovering very close to this 893 level, but just jumped back up to $9. So like I said, if it comes back up through 910, we'll see how it looks pushing into 915 on the level 2. And if it looks like 915 has a lot of resistance on it, we see a few stacked up sellers, then we'll try to short into 915 with the expectation of it coming back down. We'll also take into account, if like crazy volume starts coming into it, then we probably won't do that. But if we continue this light volume push up to 915, and then we see some nice resistance, then we'll take the short position. So it's pushing up a little bit now, and pushing up on still fairly light volume, so it's good at the moment. We don't want too much volume coming into it if we're going to try to short into these into the highs. So now SJ, by far the highest volume candle of the day, is this red candle. So made a crazy move up past 14, and then sold off a full dollar in that same candle. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Yeah, I don't really know if there's a setup to take on SJ here. Obviously, I still think it's in a downtrend, and I think that it will probably go lower. But as far as like a price target to buy at, I don't really know what we'd be looking at here. So it just came below VWAP. It's sitting at VWAP right at the moment. Maybe if it bounces back up, and then the second time it comes through VWAP. Dude, I mean, you gotta trade what works, right? I've been watching a lot of trading videos on YouTube, a lot of streamers, a lot of people doing interviews. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of like Chat with Traders. It's like this guy does interviews with like very well known investors and traders, but a lot of the people that are on the interviews like say that like a lot of what they started with is like shorting low floats, because like shorting low floats is like one of the most common one of the most common things that people do. And it's like a good thing to learn, because generally speaking, shorting low floats works in more markets than actually going long low floats, because there will always be low floats that pop up on news and then sell off. Whereas like catching momentum on low floats, like you actually need to be in like a strong low flow market for that to happen. So just trying to like work on my skills. Like, so I'm gonna try to actively think about what short trades I could take, because obviously, like I said, they seem to be working a lot better in the last few weeks. So just have it in the playbook here. So I feel like most mornings I'm just like sitting here and I'm like, well, everything's pulling back. But if I'm willing to take short trades, I'm like, oh man, everything's pulling back. That's great. Like take a trade and make some money while it's pulling back. I just feel like I've heard myself say that so many times in the past few weeks. It's like, well, everything popped up and then it's just coming back down. Armo pushed up, but couldn't really get up to this 915 level. Still just hovering right around $9. SJ. SJ just popped up through VWAP. On the 1 minute, shorting as it pushes through 1350 might be the right idea. So I can do it with like pretty light shares, like hit it with like 25 shares as it comes down through 1350. Just started a new 5-minute candle. So on the 5-minute, we'd have to hold up to like 1380. We're still in trend. Rip, dude. Oh man, I didn't change the exchange that I was trying to sell it on. Missed the sell opportunity there because I didn't use my hotkey because I don't have a hotkey for 25 shares shorting pre-market. I only have 50 and 100. So I'd have liked to have gotten this when it was, closer to 1360. And, it's pushing up through 1360 right now. So we'll see if the bid comes back up. The bid's still sitting pretty low at the moment at 1349. So, if the bid had pushed up closer to 1360, then I could have taken a few shares on that. Alright, so I got in at 1358 as the bid pushed up. So now we'll close the position out if we come up to 1380 and break through it. Otherwise, we're looking for the move back down through VWAP now. And the first profit target we're probably going to be looking at is as it's pushing down through to $13. Alright, nice little dip there. So I took off. Oh, I accidentally took off all of it. RIP. I meant to take off half there as it pushed down through 1320. I accidentally took off everything. Whatever. We made another $10 on that trade. So I took 25 shares at 1358 and sold it at 1324. So made 34 cents on the shares there. So about $10. A little bit less, $8. I accidentally I don't use my I just put my shorting pre-market hotkeys on for Lightspeed, and definitely still not used to where they are, I'd say. So meant to sell half as we came down through 1320 and then hold for the move to 13, but accidentally sold everything off. Still, I think good, decent trade. Still a good idea, I think, coming through VWAP. It seems to have pushed up, quite significantly. So inadvertently, probably a good idea that I did that. So just pushed up to 1375 and couldn't really hold that level very well. On the 5-minute now, 1380 is still that place to. I guess 1376, 1375, still the place to hold under. The fact that this 5-minute has such a huge tail, I'm probably not going to take another trade on this for the moment. Until we see what this next 5-minute candle decides to do. Now we have, now we just put in a 5-minute green candle with a massive tail on it. So that's usually an indicator of strength. Yeah, dude, I get you. I also feel like just at the moment the market is generally speaking, if you buy something right now, it's 75% chance it's going to go down. If you're buying low floats pre-market, the vast majority of times, even if it's a decent setup, they're still failing on them. So it's short sellers are winning out the majority of the time at the moment. So I think just even if I was had no idea what I was talking about and I was buying and selling randomly, if I randomly shorted stuff, I would be making out significantly better than I have been in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So gonna try to continue doing that. But then if we see momentum coming back in on the long side, then I've talked about this before too, where it's like I need to be better at context switching. So it's like as soon as we see momentum coming back in on the long side, I need to be able to recognize that and then try to be more aggressive on the long side. I think the bigger problem with the shorting is like because I'm doing it on the other platform. Uh, every trade I make, I have to pay commissions on. Um, so I'm up like $30, $32, but just from the trades I've made this morning, I have to pay like $8 on commissions for them. So it's like I'm up $32, but I'm really only up like $24. The commissions kill you when you're not putting on like large share size because they scale significantly better the more shares that you put on. Pretty much, if you make any trade between 0 shares and 250 shares, it's $1 per trade. So if I'm only putting on 50 shares every single trade that I make, then I'm essentially losing out on that. Like as far as commissions go, then I'm selling myself short. It's much better to just put on the maximum size if you think you're going to be consistently profitable. Which, obviously. RMO has quite a lot of support coming down in 897 area. It's sitting at it was like 20,000 shares on the bid. So I don't really know what's going on with RMO. It's kind of chilling right now. Maybe we'll see something happen as we're coming into 9 o'clock now. I also think like shorting low floats, uh, is a fairly good strategy during market hours as well. I think that's like the majority of what people do with shorting low floats is like during market hours. It's like if if a low float goes up 300%, most likely it's going to go down. Like if you see it halt down, like that probably isn't the end of it going down. um, Generally, they do not hold those levels very well, obviously. But like I said, I don't really trade during market hours, and I'm probably not willing to put on a short position and just like let it rock. If I'm going to be shorting something, I'd like to be able to actively manage it because like if for some reason my stop order doesn't work or I put it in wrong and something goes up like 900%, then I'm boned. And it's happened before. So I would not like that to happen to me. Alright, so 30 seconds to 9 o'clock here. See if anything pops up on news coming into 9 o'clock. I mean, otherwise, there's not really a whole lot else that we're watching at the moment. I mean, SJ, it's questionable what it's going to do. Highest volume candles are red candles, so, it might be an expectation that it's going to go lower. Same thing with RMO. But, yeah, I don't think there's, like, a really great setup that I want to take on SJ at the moment. We kind of got some ascending support on the 5-minute candles. So indicating a little bit of an uptrend. Well, I guess it's in consolidation right now. We got descending resistance and ascending support. So we just hit 9. Nothing popping up on the scanners right now. We got nothing. Forgot to update my tickers this morning, which I've been trying to do every morning, but I neglected to do so this morning. Um, so hopefully there isn't some, newly IPO'd stock today that I'm missing out on because I didn't update my tickers, which did happen the other week. Quite unfortunate. Which is why I've been trying to be better about doing that this week, or this in the last few weeks. I feel like ACY was the one that it happened to. No, because it IPO'd a million years ago. Yeah, ACY did have an insane day recently, though. So RMO still not really doing too much. So we got RMO and SJ. Both of which still really not doing too much. So, I mean, I don't really see any setups that I'm really loving at the moment. Nothing popped up on news at 9 o'clock. So I don't think there's any trades that are imminent right now, let's look at GME. GME just, just doing GME things yesterday. Public offering announced. Literally dropped $50 a share. And then within 2 hours, came back up. It's just absolutely insane. I'm very surprised that the news of a public offering didn't just kill it. I suppose the public offering was not for that many shares compared to the float. It was they said 3.5 million shares, I think. So not too bad as far as offerings go, I guess. But still, I mean, it's crazy that it made really no difference in the stock price by the end of the day. I still think it's in a downtrend, so if it starts plummeting, maybe I'll take a short position on it. But I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it start trending in one direction or the other. It's been steadily trending down, but it's more moving sideways in the last few weeks. So it's putting in lower highs, but we were sitting at just above 200 a few weeks ago. Between 200 and 210. And now we're sitting at 185. So it is trending downward, just very very slowly. And we had this obvious one day that just went absolutely crazy, and it dropped to 112. And then we had Premarket yesterday where it dropped quite a bit. So I expect one day we'll see a drop that maybe it doesn't recover from as quickly. That's just my opinion, though. Alright, well, doesn't look like anything's coming up. No trades that I really want to take, so I'm gonna probably dip out a little early today, go get ready. Go get ready for work. So, hope everyone's got good trades today. Hope everyone makes money. I'll let you guys know if I take any trades into the open. Like I said, with those short trades today, we're up 32 bucks, but paid $8 in commission, so we're only really up $24, $25. But I think decent. And then we took the one trade on Thinkorswim where we're down 40 cents. So not anything too crazy there. But yeah, hope everyone's got a good day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.